Everyone, welcome to Inside the AI. I'm your host, Doc, and today I want to walk you through this n8n workflow. In this workflow, we're going to use OpenAI to generate a script that's right here in step one. And that script is going to generate an idea and a script that's going to be sent to create a video in Google's new VO3. The creation of this video in Google's VO3 is going to take place right here in step two. And in this step two, we're going to send out our prompt that we automatically generate from OpenAI to generate this idea. Let me hit execute this workflow and I'll talk you through what's happening. So once the trigger has started, it's going to generate an idea. That information is then sent to VO3 so that it can generate the video. All of this information is going to be logged in our Google Sheets, and then it's going to be passed through to Blotato, where it's going to post all of those videos to all of our social media in one click of a button. So with this, I can show you on my YouTube what just happened. This is the video it just created. So if you stay tuned to the end, I have a special treat for you. So this workflow is very great and it's very user-friendly. If you want a more cost-efficient method to create these videos in Google's VO3, I'm going to show you how to create two nodes and how to use that to have a more cost-effective method than the methods that are right here. But this is an extreme. So stay tuned because in the next part of the video, I'm going to show you what each node is doing and what information is being passed through. And then we'll do a step-by-step remake of this entire workflow. So as always, don't forget, like and subscribe. Join my community so that we can grow and automate together. But that really helps the algorithm. It really helps my channel. Just give this video a thumbs up, like and subscribe if you think it's very useful and you find some value in this content. So the first part, let's walk through step by step what's happening in this workflow. So we have a trigger and this trigger is going to run every day. So this trigger would run every day. And if I open this up, the trigger runs once a day at midnight. So this would publish at midnight. So once it runs at midnight, we're going to open our AI agent. We have an AI agent that will be prompted to use OpenAI to generate an idea and give it some information. So here we're giving it a prompt and then we're giving it some system information so that it can create a caption, an idea, and the environment. So essentially in this video, this is saying Yeti's ice code vlog. It gives you all the hashtags that will go in your video. You have the idea, which will get passed through to the Google's VO3, and then it has the environment, which would also be passed through Google's VO3. With this created, it leverages ChatGPT, and it has some more nodes here to create the idea. As always, we have a Google node, and this Google Sheets node is going to capture our ideas. So what we want to do is we want to capture these, and so this is going to pass it through, and we have it in a structured method of understanding what we're posting and the information we have. Once we capture our information, we want to send it back through an AI agent. And what this AI agent is going to do is it's going to take the idea with the environment and it's going to create a prompt that will be sent to Google's VO3 to create the video. And if you see on the right here, we have the information being sent through. So each video is going to be very different. It's going to be very similar where it can be one account posting this, and it's going to be a niche type of thing, but it's going to be different in the ideas that are created. So the idea is going to be passed through of what to create with the environment, and it's going to have some prompts down here. We will go through this in the step-by-step process. But what you need to know for this one is we pass that through, and now we have an output of a prompt that will be sent to VO3. And basically what this is doing is it's creating the prompt that will create the video. So now once we have the video created, once we have the concept of the video in the prompt, that information again is going to be sent to QE.FAI. And what that's going to do is it's going to take that information, it's going to take that prompt, and it's going to pass it through and it's going to generate a video. We will walk through how to set all of this up step by step later in the video. But in this part of the video, what you need to know is we pass through the prompt. We use the application to call VO3, and then we've passed that information through. And at the right-hand side, we have all of the responses and the IDs for the video. We can see it's in the queue to be made. And now this was generating the video. Moving to the next one, we have a wait node, and this wait node is going to help with the rate limits. And then we have a get status of the video. So what I learned in making this was what happens is if the video is not completed, it will throw an error. So what happens here is this is going to check to make sure the video has been completed. And if it is not, it's going to continue to keep looping around so that it can recheck it. And if the video has not been completed, it will continue to loop until it's completed. Once it's completed, that information will be sent to the next node, which will then download the video. All of that information, again, is always captured in our Google Sheets, where we can track what videos we're making. And then once we do that, we send our videos to be published on YouTube, TikTok, and all the other websites that we have. So if you find value in this, please, again, like and subscribe. So next in the video, I'm going to walk you through step by step of how to build out each one of these nodes and how to connect the APIs to this. I'm also going to explain what's happening and how much each one of these costs. So as always, when I'm going to create this, I want to rename. So now I've entered my n8n environment. And as always, the first thing I want to do is rename this. As you can see, I'm on workflow 7. So there's 6 other ones I have not renamed. And I probably will never get back to them because I have no idea what they do. So it's important to rename this so you understand what's happening. So in this one, I'm going to put VO3 video. And now know to delete this because I've already have this created, but this is just a template for the video. So as always in n8n, the first thing you want to do is create a trigger. It's important that we start with a trigger because every action we do starts with a trigger. So in this type of video, what I'm going to do is have a trigger that is going to execute on a schedule, just like the beginning part that I showed you. So this is going to start every day at 1 o'clock. It's important to note that you can modify this. Instead of saying every day, you can say once a week, once a month, every hour. You have different options here. And this is important to know because when you're making these automations that make the videos for you, you want to generate as many videos as your funds allow. So making these videos costs money. So if you're posting every day, that is generally going to cost you some money. So you may not want to post every day. I just want to, for a full disclaimer, this video that I used to create this short, it was a short Yeti vlog, cost about $6 to make with this system. And that's not counting the subscription. So it does cost some money to make some of these videos. So the cheaper, lesser expensive options are always welcome. So now that we've talked through that and why this is important to know, and it's important for you to track how often you're posting because of the cost, we're going to move this over here and we're going to open up the next thing we need to do. So for the next thing we need to do is hit this plus sign and we want to have an AI agent. So we hit that and now we have AI agent right here to the right. And in this, what you do want to do is you want to rename this so you know what it is. So this is AI agent and this is going to be generate video. Now rename this so that I have a structured understanding of what each node does. So with this completed, I do need to give some information on this. I need to click this drop down and I need to change this to define below. So the define below, what I want to show you is this is going to be the prompt you want to use to generate the Yeti videos. Now you can modify this. If you just want a Yeti, it could change to be a bear. It could change to be a robot. It can change to be whatever you want it to be. But basically, if you want that vlog type of video, this is what you want to put in it. You want to have it say, give me an idea about a Yeti speaking to a camera, and doing a vlog through his selfie stick. That's an easy, straightforward prompt. The next part is going to be where we get more detailed. So as we move down, we do need to click this on where it says required specific output format. Once we do that, we can add another option down here at the bottom, and we want to generate a system message. What this is doing is, the top part is a user message. This is going to always stay the same. The system message is going to be like if you are using your OpenAI at home. So now I'm going to paste this in here and I'm going to open it up. This is where we have a more detailed prompt. So if you want to recreate this, what I would do is I would take a screenshot. And I would take this just like this and screenshot each part of this. And I will send it, copy and paste it into ChatGPT and ask ChatGPT to rewrite this step by step. To rewrite this word for word. And once I do that, this will be completed and you can copy and paste that in. What I'm going to do is I'm going to give you the option to take the picture now. So you can use ChatGPT to rewrite this. And then I'll scroll down. And now you have the bottom half of it. And now you ask it to rewrite it again. And that's the complete prompt that you want to put in there. Now, here is where you can change and modify some of the information. You can tell it the style and the cinema. You can tell it all of the information you want to do and be extremely detailed. If you do not, and you just take this word for word, it's going to be creative and make what it thinks is the best thing to create. So if you have your niche and you want to change this, you can change it to a rooftop, to an alley, to whatever you want it to be. And this is what you want to modify. Once you do this and you have this prompt completed, this node is complete and we can move to the next thing we need to do. To do that, the next thing we need to do is make sure this has a brain. So that is an AI chat model, which is right here to the left. And what we want to connect is our OpenAI chat model. This is going to be very easy to complete. And what we want to use is ChatGPT 4.1. So how do we connect our OpenAI account? So I want to walk you through, there's many videos of how to do this, but if you go to platforms.openai.com, and then you want to access your API key, you can go to the settings. So now when you're in this part and you want to connect your OpenAI, how do you do that? Well, to connect your OpenAI, before you can even select your prompt, what you want to do is go to create a new credential. And all you have to do is copy your API key, but how do you get this API key? Well, the way you get this API key is you got to go to platform.openai.com. When you go here to platform.openai.com, this is the playground. This is where you can make some things inside of OpenAI that is a little bit different. But to get that API key, you want to come over here to settings. And then once you're in settings, you want to go to your API key. Now I have a bunch of API keys here. You can create a new API key. And when you create this, you can paste it in here. I will have everything linked in the description below. But once you have it connected, you can just select whichever model you want. I do want to use the 4.1, so this is the one we're going to have on it. The next thing we need to do is add a tool. And this tool is the next thing we want to do is add a tool. So the next thing we want to do is add a tool. So the tool we're going to add is this tool inject creativity. This is going to allow it to be creative, and we want to link it to our tool section. After that, we want to go to our tool output parser, and we're going to have a structured output parser. So with this, we're going to add a JSON here. The JSON we're going to put is I'm going to copy and paste it and let you take a screenshot of it again so that you can rewrite it. So now here's the screenshot. You can take a quick snippet of it and then ask OpenAI to rewrite this. And this is just going to create the text and the prompts the way you want it to be. So it structures it in the method that you need it to be delivered in. With this complete, we have our first little section of our nodes complete. What we want to do next is we want to go to our Google Sheet. The Google Sheet we want to do is we want to so the next thing we want to do is go to our Google Sheet. So if we type in Google Sheet and then we click on the Google Sheet, we want to append a new sheet. So what this is going to do is it's going to update our sheet. We want to pick the title of our document, which I've titled this one as VO3 second. This is the second video that I made for this, so this is why it's second. And so I'll explain what's happening here. And then we need to use the tab of the sheet that it's in. So I've only created one sheet, and now I'm going to go through and show you how this works. So if I go back to this sheet right here, this is the one that we've created. I attempted to run a few earlier and ran into some errors. So I updated the workflow and it works properly now. This is the most recent one that I've created. But essentially what this is going to do is it's going to number them down. So we always have a unique identifier. It gives you the idea, the caption, if it's been produced and if it's completed or if it's for production, and then what the environment is. Here's the final output. So I can copy and paste these and I can see the videos in real time. So now this is going to track them and this is going to tell us if we've done them and they're completed. So now getting back into the n8n workflow, we do need to update these. So now I'm going to copy and paste some information over so you can see what's happening and we'll talk through what's going on. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to create a formula that's going to go into our Excel. So the first one is going to be equals row parentheses -1. So basically this is going to be a counter that's going to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, all the videos that are being created. The next thing we're going to do is going to be the idea. The idea that we have is going to be passed through, and this is what needs to go in there. The last part is going to be the caption. And I'm going to show you how this looks completed, but I want to show you what goes in here. So this is going to be caption idea. Then we want to do if it's been produced or not. We have the environment to build out. So now, and here goes the environment. Bam. So now we have all of these completed, and this is what it would look like when it's executed. So I'm going to pull this one over. And so this is what it would look like. So what I copied and pasted in is essentially, if you were to recreate this, you can take your ideas. If I deleted this ideas and it's empty, I can take the idea here and then drag that over and paste it there. And what this is doing is it's taking that row of information and it's passing that through in this location. You can do that for each one of them. But if you're not building it in so you don't pass the data through, just copy and paste it in and it works the same. The reason I say to copy and paste it in too is because if you saw those videos I created, I probably wasted about $15 making different videos because I would hit execute and it would run the video in the workflow by itself. So at least if you copied and paste this through, you could execute the workflow at the end and you wouldn't waste any money creating videos that were unwanted. So the next thing, once we have that completed, is going to be one more AI agent. If we click this plus and we click AI, we have an AI agent as the first option. And we're going to do the same. We're going to have it defined below. So with this defined below, we want to give it this prompt that I'm going to paste in. And again, as always, I'm going to allow you the option to take a screenshot so you can rewrite this. So here's what's happening. And this is going to say, give me a VO3 prompt for this idea. And then it passes the idea through from the last node. And then it's going to say, this is the environment. And then it's going to pass through the environment. So I'll show you what this looks like once we complete the node. Again, this is going to be in the required as a specific output. And we're going to add an option that's a system message. The system message we're going to do is going to be this right here. So I want to show you what it's going to look like and again, give you the option for some screenshots. So here it says you are a system prompt for Google VO3 prompt agent. You can take a screenshot of this and then you can make some edits where you need it to be. Here's some locations where you want to edit. And you can keep this as it is and it will generate whatever it has the idea to create. Or you can modify this and have some of the topics in this be specifically tailored to your brand and what you're trying to create. So this is the idea of where you want to do. As I go down, here's the next part. Take a screenshot of this bottom part and you can recreate this prompt. But so I want to highlight this right here is where you want to edit down to really have a targeted niche video for what you want to create. If I ran this and I will at the end to show you what it will create, and I will show you from beginning to end what this is going to create. It's going to create a extremely random video. I won't have any control in what it makes. If you want more control, what you want to do is you want to make a main character. You want to have it insert certain things and the mood. You can tell it the time of the day, and you can give it some information on what you want this to look like. So now with this complete, the next thing we're going to do is we need to create the same kind of structure that we have over here. We want to add another model. This model is going to be a OpenAI model again. And you already understand how to connect the OpenAI account. So this one is going to be a GPT 4.0 mini. And now that we have that completed, the next thing we want to do is we want to create this tool. The next thing we want to do is create this tool right here. This tool right here is going to be a tool build prompt structure. What this is going to do is use this tool to think about something. It will not obtain information or change the database, but just append the thought to the log. Use it when the complex reasoning or something niche in memory. So this is just going to build the structure of the prompt. Add that to the tool, and this is completed. With this completed, I'm going to add another node. The next node is where we start getting interested. The next node is where this starts getting interesting. We're going to do an HTTP node. And this is one of the most common nodes. You're going to be extremely familiar with this node if you use n8n. This node is going to, instead of it being a get, we're going to change this to a post. And then what this is going to do is we're going to post this to this website. So here's the URL we want to put in here, and I'm going to talk through what is happening here. So here is the HTTP, here's the website, and then what's happening is it's calling the VO3. So now if I go into this website, which is an extremely useful website, if I could, I would do very differently and save a bunch of money. But this website is very creative in what it does. So here's the website, and let's talk through what this website is. This website, if I go to home, has a lot of different options for things to use. And what I mean by that is it brings in a lot of different AI capabilities in one location. So if I click explore, and I'm going to walk you through when we get to the VO3 part. So I click explore, and now we have VO3 right here. It's going to give you the option to use VO3. So let's click try it. And when I do that, it brings me to this part right here. This is going to be an example video. So this is a video of a guy interviewing a girl on the street. It's very random, but what's interesting here is this is the prompt. What's interesting here is this is the prompt that it's using to create this video. So if you want to use this and you want to create a video just like this, where they're doing interviews on the side of the street, you can take this prompt, you can change the size of the video. Instead of it 16:9, you can do by 9:16. And then what you can do is you can take the form, turn it into a JSON. Once you have the JSON, this is what you would copy and paste into your n8n node. So if I copied and paste this, I'd have this type of video. So now if you're into this and this is what you want, here's an example of what you can do. You don't even have to use this website anymore. I can just copy and paste this into VO3 and use this type of model. Now, what's pretty cool about this also is that you have examples over here. So inside the examples, we're going to have a couple of different ones here. So once we're in examples, we have a short little library of different prompts that they've already created. So here's one where the person's soaring through a battlefield. Here's some books hanging out in the sky. I don't even know what it's doing. Here's a yacht. Here's Batman's Alfred, which is pretty interesting. You have a guy singing in his 30s. So, I mean, I don't know about that mustache. And then here you have a Jesus type of video, a cop chase, and some futuristic thing. So as the other one did, I can click copy prompt, or I can go into the playground. So if I go into any of these and say I want to use this type of video right here, I can click playground. And again, I can change this to 9:16. So it's a TikTok or short. And then I can change this to JSON. And now here's that video. So now here's that prompt that I'm going to use to create this video. Now it's important to note that this is just the beginning part, and I can modify this as I want. But this is at least a very good starting ground. So now if I go back to here, what's happening here is we're using this system to send this to the VO3 and create the account. So I will show you my billing here. I have $14 on my base. I just put $20 through, and I ran one video, and that took $6. So it is pretty expensive to create these VO3 videos if you use this method. So now that we have this complete, I'm going to keep walking you through as I discourage you from using this, as it is very expensive, but there are some very unique things that this will provide. So what I want to do is I want to click generic. And then what I need to do is go into the header authentication. And then I want to use the FAI.ai. This is my credentials I've already created. But if you want to create new credentials, what you can do is you can go into your fai.ai, hit your API key. You want to copy, add a new key. You can copy this key and then create it. So now I have the key right here. I can copy this and then I can go back in here. I can paste it right here. And then here I can put authorization. And then this will make this connected. So now that I have that connected, I want to go down here and send a body. So here I want to add this as a JSON. I want to change this to be raw. And then the text is going to be an application/JSON. And then the body is going to be this right here. And I'll copy and paste it in. And then I will share it with my screenshot. So this is how it would look. And if you are into this stuff, this looks a little more familiar. So essentially what this is doing is we just walk through what it's doing. It's taking that structure of how we went through in the fai.ai, and it's going to structure it that way. So now you can change this to any of the methods that it showed in the earlier part of the video. And this is where you would change it. All right. So now another thing we need to do is add a batch. Here we're going to go to add an option, and then we're going to click batching. In batching, what we're going to do is we're going to change this to 1, and then the bottom part we're going to change to 2000. We can close this out, and now this is completed, but I'll move it down here so that, remember, when we're making this, this is like structure 1, and then we're having video 2. And so now if I go back through, I can go into here, and I can see the information being passed through. The AI agent has the idea coming from here. It's taking that Yeti information. And if I open this, what this is going to do is, if we see here, this is the pass-through information, but this is the completed part. So instead of it just saying the idea, it's going to say, give me a VO3 prompt for this idea. A Yeti's ice cold vlog, Yeti vlog, and it gives you all the ideas. And then this is the environment: blizzarding mountain peak, icy winds, a lone Yeti, handheld, docu-style, camera shaking with code. You can change that, but that's what's happening here, and that's how it works. The next thing is here, that information that was created creates that prompt. Now we see the prompt coming through, and that information comes through like this. Instead of it being prompt output, here we have a massive furry figure with shaggy white hair with a blue TIG face. It's very detailed on how to create this prompt. So then once you have this, it's going to create the video over here. Now it's not going to create the video. What's happening is it's requesting an ID for the video, right? So now we see here the status is it's in the queue, means it's going to be made. And then we have the information of where the video is, the request ID, the response URL, and the status of the URL. With this, we can go to the next node, which is a wait node. So with this completed, we have the upload to the queue to create the video. We need to add a wait node. And this wait node is going to wait a few minutes. I did 15 minutes, and even at 15 minutes, it still was giving an error. So give it 15 minutes. You might get lucky if it was 10, but I'm telling you, I did 15 minutes and it still was not working. It kept throwing an error. So because it was throwing an error, I'm going to show you what I did to fix that. What I did another HTTP node. And then what I did was I asked this node to get some information. The information that I asked it to get was this URL right here. This URL right here is going to get the status of the video. If we saw the last node will give you the status as if it's still in the queue or if it's completed. So once we authenticate it, that's all we need to do. Just authenticate this one, have that information here. And what's going to happen is it's going to output the result. I'm going to show you what that's going to look like here. So now this is the same node and we have the same URL here with the ID passed through. So this is saying, here's the ID. So I took that URL and I took the ID. This is the ID right here. And I dropped it right there. And then this is giving you a completed status. If it was not completed, it would say in progress. So what I did was I made an if node. This if node takes the status. If we see here, it says status. And if it's equal to completed, then it goes through the true branch. If it goes through the false, then it goes back through and hits the wait again. It'll keep doing this until it gets the completed node. So now we're going to build that out. So the next thing is building out that if node. So here's the if. So the first thing is adding the value for the top. So here's what you want to type in there. And then the bottom part, we just want to type in completed. The bottom part, we want to add it in completed. Of course. The bottom part, we want to add in completed. It does have to be all caps. And then what happens is once we do that, we will have two outputs here, true and false. The false will loop back around, go into the wait. And the true will just get the video. So the next thing we need to do is an HTTP node. I told you you're going to get very familiar with HTTP nodes. This node is going to be a get node. And in this node, what we're going to do is we're going to take this URL here, and this is going to be the request ID, and this is going to get the URL to the video. Once we have that completed, all we have to do is authenticate, which I showed you earlier in the video. And when you have it authenticated, this is what it's going to produce. You're going to have the URL of the video. If I copy this URL into my URL here, it gives you the actual video. I can see up here that it downloads the video. So here is it downloading a couple of videos. I did it a couple of times because I didn't see it happening. So my computer's taking a while, but I'm going to stop some of these. And then I can see this is the exact same words. I can open this one up and this is going to be the video. So now I know this works and I know this has a video. It's going to pull in that video and now we are good to go. So the next thing I want to do, I'm going to keep this here. I need to log this into my Google Sheets. It's no good if we don't track what we make because you may make the same content. And instead of making content, just repost the old stuff. So for this one, what we want to do is we want to update a row. So here we want to use is update a row, which is the last one. You click this. I'm going to show you how to connect your Google account. So to connect your Google account, you want to go to Google Cloud Console. So cloudconsole.google.com. You go into your credentials. And then here in your credentials, you have your API key and your client ID. What you want to do is you want to click here and create a new one. You take that information you got from there, and then you just copy and paste it here. Once you copy and paste it here, you click sign in and it will work for you. I'm not going to redo it because it's going to remake me do this all over again, but I don't want to give out my API key either. So if you do what I just told you, it will work for you. So now with this completed, what I'm going to do is I'm going to add where to get it from. So what we're going to update again is the VO3 second. This is my second video that I'm making. So this is the sheet that I named. Very creative. I need to get it from the sheet 1, which I've mentioned already. We have the name of the video right here, VO3 sheet the second. VO3 second is the title. Sheet 1 is down here, which means this is the sheet. And now we have the information in here. What we need to do, and it's very important, is to match the columns to an idea, right? So we're going to name it an idea, but essentially what this needs to be is pick one of these to match it to. What this means is n8n is going to review the columns. It's going to go through line by line each one of these columns. It's going to first go through and read the top row, and it's going to find the captions or the idea, whichever one you put there. And since I put idea, it's going to go here, and then it's going to start reading each one of these. And so what this is going to do is it's going to match it to what I put here. So whatever matches, it's going to give you that here. So the first thing I want to do is copy and paste this in. This is the idea. What I want to do is change this to done. And what this means is we have the video created already. So now we're going to say it's done and it's ready for production. And then we want to copy and paste this in because this is going to track our actual URL. So then what we can do here is we can download that and use it for other things. With this completed, that node is 100% complete and this is good to go. So the next thing we want to do is hit this plus and we want to do an HTTP node. This HTTP node is actually pretty interesting because we're going to use this URL here. And this is going to be a post node. So this is the URL we're going to use, and we're going to change this to post. Now, this is where it's pretty interesting. I paid for a $24 account. So I'm going to show you what this does. I will probably just cancel this account after, but it's actually very useful if you don't know much about creating, these n8n workflows and creating all these links. It can be very annoying to track all your API accounts. So is it worth the $24 a month? In my opinion, I think it might be for most people, but let me show you what it does. So I'm going to go back here and I'm going to open this HTTP node, and what you want to have it as post. We'll come back in and we'll set this up in a little bit. But what I want to walk you through is what is happening here. I'm going to move it down here and I'm going to go to my other screen. So here's my other screen, and I want to focus in down here on this Potato workflow down here. Here's the Potato node. And if you were to track this, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 different social media sites you can post to. So when you do this, what you have to do is for each one of these, you have to go in to their development portal. So here is TikTok's developer portal. And you have to create all this information. You have to submit a picture. You have to create an account, select the category. You have to give a description. You have to do this. You see these asterisks here? You have to create this. And for each one of these, nodes, you have to do that. So that takes time, it takes information, it takes a knowledge that you may not have. So what this website does is it lets you go to this one website, and all I have to do is click this button and it connects my account. So I connected these 3 accounts with just clicking my button. I didn't have to create any developer portal. I didn't have to do anything. Matter of fact, let's test this out. I can go into Facebook. I can click Facebook. Obviously, it's loading. It's logging in to Facebook for Business. So now it says reconnect my Tableau. I connect reconnect. And now if I go down here, it's connected right here. I can copy this ID, and that's all I have to do to post things onto Facebook. So it's actually very useful. So it saves you time and it saves you on a knowledge gap you may not know before. So The young lady that made this website, very smart. I think it's very useful. So, I don't get anything for this. I actually paid for this account. So let's show you. So if I go to settings, I can go into open my billing portal. Let's see what this does. So if you see here, I have two purchases, one purchase for $29.99. This is my starter plan. I have no affiliation to this. I actually just did this just to test it out. So now going back into n8n, we're going to keep building this out. But now that you understand what Belato is doing, I hope that's how you're saying that. You can create posts, you can do inspirations, have prompts. This is actually a very useful tool. What you want to do is, the next thing we have is connecting this. Now, connecting this was a bit challenging. I'm going to walk you through how to do this. You want to leave this on authentication as none, and you want to send a header. The header you want to send is used below, and then the first one is going to be the content/type as always, and the application/JSON like always. The next thing is you want to add a parameter, and this is going to be your API key. So you're just going to put Belato, I hope I'm saying that right, -API key, and then here's where your API key would go. The next thing that you would do is you want to send the body, and this body is going to be the file that's being submitted. So this stays the same as JSON, and this stays the same. Here you want to type in URL. You're telling it you're sending a URL through, and then you want to send the URL of the video. So for example, here is the URL for the video that I am posting. So here is the URL that I copied and pasted in at the top bar, and this is the URL here. So if I post this here and I execute this, it's going to post this video. Now, it's important to note that this is going to be posted to the Belato website, but it's not going to be posted to your social media. So it's important to note that this is going to post to Belato, but it's not going to post to your website. So what you have to do is you have to go to HTTP, and you're going to get very familiar with this. And what you want to do is you want to rename these. So this would be named YouTube. And then what you want to do is you want to take this and you want to paste this in here. And this is going to be none. You want to send a header. And the header is going to be, instead of it being, the header is going to be the same thing as the other one. So here's the Belato API key. Here's where your API key will go into. And then down, you want to send a body. The body, instead of it being a JSON, will be using the JSON. And then here is what you want to put into that. So now I don't have anything connected. That's why it's red. But this is what you want to change here, right? So what you're doing here is you're taking the ID. So you want to go back to your Belato. And where you say copy your ID, you take that and you paste it right here. That's for each one of your accounts. You copy that and paste it right here. And then you take the title from the last video, you paste it right here. And this is what you want to put in. Once you have this complete, you can execute this with your API key here, and it will post it to YouTube. Matter of fact, we'll go through that in a second. The next thing you want to do is you want to open this up. And from here, what you're going to do is you're going to have. So from here, what you're going to do is you're going to click this again. You're going to click this plus, and you're going to go HTTP. And once you do this, you go to the next one. This will be a post method again. And then what you will do is you will take this, you can copy this, you can paste it right here, the same thing. And then you do the same thing. You want to send a header. You want to use the Beleto API key. This is where your API will go. And then you want to go down here. And then you want to go down here and add an option. And then you want to go down here and click send a body. This body is going to be changed to a JSON. And then again, we have the same thing. You want to copy and paste this in. And you want to put that ID right here. Now with this complete, this is ready for TikTok. So now each one of these you walk through and post how to do this. Now it would be easier if you want to create this one by one, you can, and I'm not going to stop you, but just shoot me an email, comment in the comments below, ask me for this, send me an email to insidethealgorithm1@gmail.com and I will send you this over. So in the end, what it's going to look like is like this. I'm going to move these over because I did not want to connect every one of my social media accounts. I will do that at a later date. But now what I want to do is I want to do a quick run through this so you can see it work. So I'm going to post to YouTube and TikTok. If I had all of these connected, they would work too. Like right now, I can also post to Facebook, but I just don't want to. I'm only going to post to these two. I can go back here. So I can go back here. I can click execute and this will run and it will do the same thing and post a new video. And so it runs through and posts a video. So if you find value, so this is the workflow. If you want this workflow, comment below. I'm making a crypto specific playlist. So I'm going to go through, I'm going to be using CoinGecko. I have a very strong CoinGecko database, and I'm going to leverage that to produce you some content on cryptocurrency. So stay tuned for that. But I want to thank you if you stay tuned and watch this entire video, or if you click through, great, I don't care. But what I want to do is I want to zoom in on this right here. Here are two important aspects. If doing this right here, if you have to pay for a account to post these videos, which costs you $6, and then you have to pay for $24 to host it all in one location, you're looking at $30 just to get started to make one video. Not talking about the APIs to the OpenAI. That gets pretty expensive. So here I have two nodes. And in these two nodes, what we're going to do is we're going to call Gemini straight from here. This will cost you $0 if you have the paid Gemini subscription. I currently have the Gemini Pro, and that's only because I'm a student. I don't get paid for any of these people to post any of this. And what I want to show you is how to create this at the most cost-effective way. What I want to do is show you how to create this in the most cost-effective way. So the way to do this is here's this node right here. This is, again, an HTTP node. And what this is doing is it's posting information that you create. This post is going to go to https://api.vo3.com v1 videos. This is your URL. When you authenticate, you do not need to authenticate. What you need to do is a few steps. So to authenticate, what you want to do is go to your API and services. So here is Google's Cloud Console. We talked about this earlier. What I want to focus on is the library. So to the first thing we need to do is go to Google Cloud Console. In Google Cloud Console, here we are. We are in the library. So I will go all the way back out so you can see where we go. This is the home page for Google's Cloud Console. First thing you want to do once you create a project, you can create a project here, create a new project. You can run through those steps. It's very simple to do. Just click through and follow the step-by-step guidance. You want to go here to API and services. When you do that, you need to go to library. If you don't do this, it will not work. From library, what you want to type in is Gemini. So here are the three options for Gemini. The first one that it gave me is the Gemini API, which allows developers to build generative AI applications using Gemini models. So this will, if you keep reading, it says it can generalize and seamlessly understand, operate, and combine different types of information, including language, image, audio, video, and code. So here is the one we want to use. So this is the one you want to click. Not the one you want to click is the gray one. Once you click this one, you want to click this blue button right here. This blue button will say enable. Since I've already done that, it's going to let me do this. I was testing this out earlier, so I know it works. So with this enabled, I can create videos in Gemini. Here's the information of how much it's going to cost, and it's going to give you all of the information. So with this complete, I can go back here, I can authenticate with my API key, and it will be good to go. So now with this completed, here's what you want to use as your prompt. The same thing we wrote from that video. So if we go back into, this is where it gets pretty interesting, right? So when you're creating your scenes and your prompts, what you want to do is close this out and go back into the FAL.ai, explore their options, and take their prompts and their structures. So go to try this. And then if this is the one you want to use and you want to start with this, you can modify this and you can change this to JSON. You can copy this. And now when you go back into when you go back into your Gemini, when you go here, you can paste this here. And now we have a better system. So now this will create that same video that was in that other website. It's going to create a very similar video at a cheaper cost. And so you can take their ideas and use that to generate the videos you want to create. With that completed, that is going to send the idea to Gemini. It's going to send that information to create it. So this is saying post this video, create something. But now you still need to download the video. So now here is the get. So now you use this get method, use your API key, and now you use this to download the video. So if you want more information on how to set this up, comment below, tell me to create this. If you stayed around and you watched this part of the video, I appreciate you. Thanks for sticking around. But if you do find value in this part of the video, please comment in the description below. As always, like and subscribe to this content. I'm trying to create as much as possible. Thanks again. I'm the Data Doc. I appreciate your time. Bye-bye.